Today we have the much asked for video on the top 10 90s parallels under $100. So a lot of 90s fire, but it's going to be all very affordable. So let's get right into it. Welcome to the most passionate content for card collectors on YouTube and possibly the whole entire internet. As usual, I am your host, Jake Roy, 90s B-Wall Cards here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, a little bit of Twitter, back on TikTok. We'll see if I can keep it up on there. You know the deal with threads. So that's the new TikTok, I guess, for now. Anyway, so today, yes, we're talking about the top 10 90s inserts that all the cards, or 90s parallels, I should say. We need to make that distinction. We'll talk about that in just a second. Under $100. So these are parallels, not inserts. So what we're looking at are cards that run the entire length of the set that have a visual difference, that they follow the same theme, they follow the same design, but there's a visual difference between this and the base set. So that's kind of like a really rough explanation of a parallel. But all of these, like I said, are going to be under $100, including if there's a Jordan, it's going to be under $100. So that does make it a little bit more difficult with this list. So we're looking at cards from just the 90s. So we've got 90-91 through 98-99. I cut off 99-2000 for a few reasons. We don't need to get into all that, but just so you know, those are the years that we're looking at. The end of this list is going to be 98-99. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, here we go with the top 10 parallels from the 90s under $100. So, first one here, we're going to go with number 10. We've got the 97-98. This is the Fleer Ultra Gold Medallion. You know, I've said this a number of times. I actually like the look of these better than the Platinum Medallion. I know, gasp, shock, awe. But the Platinum Medallion, how it just grays out the player, it really bothers me. So I like the gold. You get the same kind of, you know, sparkle kind of, you know, there, but everybody loves gold. You got a different hollow foil there on the name, and the player is still in color. So I like these quite a bit. You know, there's some great pictures. I mean, I really think of the 97-98, you know, Ultra set has the Kobe Bryant picture from the dunk contest, which is an incredible picture. You see, you know, that gets a lot of attention because of that picture. You know, the prices dictate that. So, you know, these ones, talking about the value, you know, we talked about Kobe, so those ones in the Gold Medallion go for right around $20 to $30, $20 to $25 probably. The Jordan is right around the $80 price point. You know, somebody like Rodman's probably like $5 to $10. This penny probably like $1 to $5. The Rodman's got a nice picture too. You know, so most of the stars outside of, well, pretty much any star outside of Jordan and Kobe, you can get for, you know, around the $5 price point. Commons are probably going to be about $1. There's a couple commons, you know, that might have like Jordan in the background, stuff like that, that might go for closer to $5. But still, you know, most stars outside of those guys are going to be right around the $5 price point, depending on condition. And these are condition sensitive. So, you know, if you see a graded copy that's a highly graded copy, you know, don't be surprised if it goes significantly more than a raw copy, because these are very hard to find in good shape. Next one, we've got number 9, 96-97, Top Stadium Club Matrix. So this is actually one that I almost left off of the list, and the reason why is because it's kind of a parallel, but kind of not. So design-wise, it definitely fits the criteria of a parallel, but because it doesn't run the whole length of the set, you know, it can be considered an insert set. So it kind of straddles the line between the two. You know, so for example, there's no Jordan. Jordan's in the 96-97 Top Stadium Club set, but Jordan is not in the Matrix parallel or Matrix insert set. Penny is, you know, you've got a number of players. You know, Glenn Rice is one that I've seen that looks really nice as well, but it does not run the full run of the set, which is traditionally what constitutes a parallel. So that's why, you know, this one got bumped down. It has that refractor finish, you know, something that we grew to love. It really looks spectacular because Stadium Club was known for having great photography. So adding that chromium finish on there with a refractor finish as well, you know, really there's a lot of photos that just jump with that design. So you know, for those reasons, I put it on the list, but I knocked it down a bit because of, you know, it kind of being a little bit outside of that traditional framework. Next one, number 8, we've got 97-98 Flair Showcase. This is going to be row 2. So we've got the Kobe in here. I almost forgot to show it to you. We've got the penny as well. So these ones, again, these are kind of straddling the line of a parallel, kind of straddling the line of a short print. But the reason why I consider these a parallel is because the base is really row 3. Row 3 non-legacies. And you look, there are specific odds for the players that are row 2, row 1, row 0 are serial numbered to 97-98. So that really does start to constitute a parallel set. Now, you've also got the legacy parallel to add on top of it, so you really have layers of parallels. Flair Showcase is one of those sets that continues to enamor me, but also confuses a lot of people. It's very confounding in a lot of ways. So, these, I like that dark aesthetic that you have here. I should have pulled the Jordan out as well, but you get the idea here with, you get the player really in the foreground playing, and then in the background with their headshot. But they did it a little differently than they did in the rest of the rows. So, these ones also are not going to really break the bank. 97-98, we get Tim Duncan's rookie year, so his card here is going to be $5 to $10. Jordan, you're looking at probably $20 to $30. The Kobe is probably about $5 to $10. The penny is about a $1 to $5 card. So nothing here that's going to break your bank. If you got a player that played in the 90s that was a rookie before 98, you can get them here, and it's going to be less than $30 for every single one of them, unless it's graded. Again, grading always makes these things a little bit more valuable, but it's not unheard of to find these cards in good shape. So pulling something out of the pack, getting an 8 or a 9 is not uncommon. Getting a 10 is not unheard of. So, if you want to get a copy that's in great shape, definitely take a close look at any sort of scans of raw copies, or go out and buy the graded copy, because it's not going to be as severe of an uptick in price like we were talking about with the gold medallions here. So that one is number 8. Number 7 is going to look really similar, because we've got the 96-97. This is row 1 for 96-97, but it has that same dark aesthetic. And the first version of it was really beautiful, really well received. I like it just slightly better. I think that they did a little bit better job at employing, some of the pictures and having how they played together. The first version of it typically is going to get a little bit of a little bit more enjoyment out of people. So you've also got a lot of great rookies in this set. Iverson and Kobe obviously are headliners, but there's a ton of players outside of them. You think of Ray Allen, Stephon Marbury. Some people love Marcus Camby, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, Antoine Walker. The list goes on and on and on. So the Kobe is going to be the most expensive one because it is his rookie year. And this is similar to 97, where it is kind of a short print, kind of a parallel, but again, you've got the legacy that you can pair on top of it, so I count it. The Kobe, you're looking at probably like $80 to $90 raw. The Jordan, you're looking at probably like $50 to $60. Most of the other players, like this penny here, you're looking at $1 to $5. Now, the trick with these is they are difficult to find in high grade because of centering. So it's not because condition was off, but typically you can see it with the name on the bottom. If it is too far to one side or the other, it typically denotes a centering issue. So be on the lookout for that. If you, again, want something to, a raw copy that you're going to get graded, look for that. And if you're looking for one that you can probably save some money on, you can get a low grade copy. I've done that in my collection at times, where I'll get a low grade copy that doesn't have any issues with the eye appeal. If it's too far to one side, but it's still all in the card, if that doesn't bother you, you could probably go and get one that's not graded well and get that for less than the raw copies at some time. So kind of interesting note there, but so all of these are going to be under $100 again, with also Kobe Bryant rookies and Jordans, something that you probably aren't going to see too much more of on this set list. All right, the next one we have here, 97-98 SPX Silver. So we've got the Kobe and we've got the penny. So the key thing here is the silver sometimes gets confused with the base set. And the reason for that is because where you see the X, it is silver on the base set, and, that's really one of the things that people will look at. But the key here is On the silver parallel, you're going to see the player's picture here in the top right hand corner is going to be silver. You're also going to see the foil on the bottom is also going to be silver rather than the player's team color, and then you're also going to see silver behind the player on that left hand panel. So you're going to see silver everywhere, whereas the base set you will see some of the team color. It gets a little tricky with some teams, but like the Spurs, for example, they've got teal for their team color rather than the black or the silver. So they did you'll see it. You'll notice it if you're paying close attention. So again, 97, 98. This is Kobe's second year. The Jordan in this set is the most expensive one, and it hovers right around that $100 point. So sometimes you might see it go for a little bit over $100, but you can also find them going for slightly below $100. The Kobe here, you're looking at $20 to $30. Iverson, 10 to 15. Shaq, 5 to 10, Penny 5 to 10, Rodman 10 to 15, Kevin Garnett's in this set, he's around $5. The Tim Duncan rookie is right around the $10 price point. You get Chauncey Billups and Tracy McGrady's got rookie cards in here. You can find commons also for a dollar or so. And the other thing to note here for condition is these are famous, all of the cards in 97 SPX are famous for delaminating. So look up around the top edges and the bottom edges, make sure it's not peeling off at all or kind of rolling of that top layer. So that, and looking at the edges on the back, sometimes you'll see some chipping there that can kind of denote. So edges are key on these 97, 98. So again, because of those issues, you can see some of the highly graded copies going for a boatload. The silvers aren't the most rare cards, but again, because they get confused with base cards, sometimes you can actually see the silvers get listed as base. What's more common is you see the base get listed as silvers. You can see, obviously people want to, you'd rather it be worth more than less, but be on the lookout. If you've got a keen eye and you see a base copy listed somewhere online and it is silver, it can be a nice little, you can save a couple bucks. So that is a good one to keep an eye out for. The next on the list, going back to the same set, different year, we've got the 96 SPX. This is the first year of SPX, and it is the gold parallel, the only parallel that they had in that first year. And it is another subtle one where these kind of fins on the corners, the four corners, are going to be gold. And again, sometimes I'm looking at ones that are listed as gold, and you can't even notice it really. So sometimes there are base ones that might get confused as, they're listed as base, but they are actually gold. So be on the lookout for that on this one here as well. This being the first year, it's kind of an XRC for Kevin Garnett. So the Kevin Garnett in this set is probably going to be $10 to $15. Penny, $10 to $15. Shaq, $10 to $15. Jordan's going to be the biggest one. He's hovering around $80 to $90. So just squeaking in under that $100 price point for the Jordan Gold. Again, not the most rare cards. You will see them. But they're gorgeous, and it's the first time that you saw a card that was really a premium set. I could go on about SPX, but this was the first version of it. Just like Flair Showcase, the first version of it, they did some things really right with it. And there's a lot of great 90s nostalgia in this set. A lot of really nice pictures as well. So keep a lookout for gold if you're looking at base cards of these. Some of them might have some gold on there that might have gotten missed. Next one we've got here is 98-99 Flair Showcase. This is the row 2. So Flair Showcase making its third and final appearance on this list because there were only 3 years that it was in the 90s. And this is the kind of the first parallel. The second parallel I wanted to squeeze on into the list, but it was not going to happen. Even though Jordan is not in the set, which typically you're going to see no Jordan, you're going to have lower values. This was one that no Jordan did not make an impact on the value. So these are still sought after, in that row 1, but row 2 are pretty easy to find, pretty easy to track down, but gorgeous. I love these the best out of all the parallels, really, because you got, you still get those dual pictures of the players. They're dual in action photos, and you get that player's jersey number in the background in the same style as you would find on their jerseys. I've got the Vince Carter kicking around. It really looks even better with players that have double-digit jersey numbers. The Kobe's a really cool-looking one. There's just a lot of really cool-looking ones in this set. I just love it. And I've seen some people that have put this whole set together of the row 2, and it looks really, really sharp. So you've got all the stuff that we know and love with Flair showcase, but those dual action photos and the player's jersey number in the background. There's a lot going on, but they're really cool. They're really gorgeous cards. So Vince Carter's rookie year, you're going to find the Vince Carters in here for around $10 to $15. Tim Duncan's second year, you're probably looking at like $1 to $5. Kevin Garnett, $1 to $5. Rodman, closer to $5 to $10. Penny, closer to $5. Shaq, about $10. Iverson, $5 to $10. Kobe is the big name here. You're looking at $20 to $30 for the Kobe. So the Kobe really just takes a sudden jump up. And, like I said, it's a really good looking one. So I can understand that for sure. So that is number 4. Going into number 3, another familiar set. We've got 97 SPX, just my favorite set. We've talked about this a bunch, and we'll talk about it once more. So 97 SPX Gold. This is one that has Jordan in it, and again, it's an XRC for Kobe and Iverson's rookie year. So just like the year before with Kevin Garnett, but bigger names for rookies. And you can see that in the prices. So, looking at these, gorgeous die cuts, really intricate, really condition sensitive. You see all those sharp corners, a lot of exposed edges, a lot that can go wrong, but also centering can be an issue. With that hologram, you can see sometimes stuff gets kind of chopped off a little bit. The placing of some of the, font, like the name and stuff like that. So there's a multitude of ways that condition can go wrong. So again, you see a good copy, you see one that's graded highly, it's going to go for multitudes more than what we're talking about here in this list for under 100. The Jordan sometimes goes for less than 100. On average, it's about a $110 card, but I have seen them go for around $90. So that's why it squeaks onto the list. So, finding the Jordan for under $100 is not an easy task by any stretch of the imagination, but it can be done. So don't despair if you're looking for one and you want to keep it under that $100 budget. You just got to keep looking. You got to be very fervent on that search. The Kobe, again, being an XRC, is right around $100. Again, this is one that I have seen go for right around $90, but I've also seen it go for, closer to $200 if it's in really, really fantastic condition. So, be on the lookout. You can find them for under $100, but it's not the easiest find. Iverson, again, being an XRC for him, you're going to find those for around $20 to $30. Rodman, you're looking at around $30 for Rodman. It's a really gorgeous one. Shaq, Penny, KG, the rest of those guys, you're hovering right around $10 for most of those guys. And again, you can find commons. This is a pretty good and tight checklist. There's not a large number of players, but you can find commons for $1 or $2 sometimes. But there's not a lot of commons, so most of these players, Grant Hill is not considered a common in a lot of sets. So a lot of these guys are not going to be $1 or $2. You might get up to, $1 to $5 for some of those guys that are kind of fringe commons. Just a gorgeous set here, and the gold adds something nice to it as well. Number 2, we have got 98.99 UD Ionix. This is the reciprocal. Some really interesting things here. So this is kind of Upper Deck's chromium version of a set. So kind of like their way to try to combat a lot of the popularity that had risen with Flair, Topps Finest and Topps Chrome. So this is kind of their refractor version. You can see, they really look nice as far as refractors go, but they're trying to go with a little more futuristic theme here. The cool thing with the reciprocal is, as the name would imply, you got the picture that is used on the back of the card put onto the front as the main focus, and the picture that is typically on the front of the base card is now on the back of these. So it's a really cool little feature there that I like that they incorporated, and really, they deployed a mathematical term well. So there are Jordans in this set, even though it is the year that he retired, but there are a multitude of them. So because there are so many Jordans, that really drives the price down. Now, if there's a specific one, each one highlights a year in Jordan's career. So if there's a specific year that you're looking for something to commemorate, then, go and chase that one. There are a lot of really cool pictures, but they were really keen to use really good pictures on the fronts, and the backs didn't have as great of pictures, whereas these ones here for Kobe and Penny, I really like the pictures that they used on the front for the reciprocal. So the picture on the back, I think, is the normal front is not as good as the one that ended up getting used here. I think I said that in a funny way, but I think you get my drift. So the Jordans, right around $100. They hover between really 90 to 115. Condition is a key. We'll circle back to that point. I haven't seen a Kobe sell in quite some time, so I'm not sure what they sell for exactly. So if there's one when you're watching this that's sold more recently, you know, I could be standing corrected, but I think they're right around the $50 price point. That's an estimate, though. Shaq, you're looking at around $20, $20 to $30. Penny, $20 to $30. Kevin Garnett, the last one I saw sell was like $5. That seems cheap to me. But you can find commons for like a dollar or so. You know, these are numbered to 750 at the time. That was rare, but today, not quite as rare as you know it was at that time. You can see here on the Kobe, these serial numbers do tend to fade, so that is one of the condition issues to look at. You can see here on the penny, sometimes they also look like they're almost smudged. You know, so there can be some funny things going on with the serial numbers here, but rest assured they are serial numbered to 750. Also, delaminating can be an issue for these, so again, look around those top edges especially. Not as many edges to look at with the die cuts on SPX, but you can see sometimes some of the stuff is kind of rolled around the top, sometimes around the bottom. You know, that can happen right out of the pack. I've pulled Jordan base cards that look completely destroyed right around the bottom edge, right out of the pack. So, really a cool looking, you know, refractor finish. Everybody loves refractors, so a cool one there for number 2. Before we get to number 1, let's take a look at an honorable mention. So we have 94, 95 tops embossed, a set that I really think is really cool. These are the Golden Idols, I believe. A lot of times you'll see them, they're just going to be listed as tops embossed gold. But the reason why they call them Golden Idols, if I'm remembering that correctly, is because the player looks almost statuesque, almost like they're bronzed, like a statue. So, you know, makes sense, but, you know, this is a great deployment of gold foil. One of the first times we saw it used in such an elaborate way. You know, we saw gold foiled all the way back in 93, 94 with tops, but this is a very elaborate deployment of gold foil, and it's one of those that outside of the Jordan, I don't see it really catching on. You know, most of these, like the penny included, you know, this is a penny second year, but you can get these for $1 to $5, typically closer to $1 than $5. But the Jordan is one that goes for 30 to 40, you know, sometimes closer to $50. You know, thick borders, so centering issues do stand out. They are thicker stock cards, so you can see edge and corner issues more easily. So condition is definitely something to be on the lookout for. You know, but the Jordan is really the only one that is going to get over $10 on this list. You know, I have seen them go closer to $50 at times. You know, $50 or $60. I have seen probably the lowest is like around $5. I think I have seen a Jordan go for. That's pretty rare, pretty rare, and typically you're going to find some sort of significant condition issue. But these are gorgeous. Really love them. So thought those were a key highlight from really drive-by year in 94, 95. Not a lot of great stuff coming out of that year. But the number 1 on this list, 95, 96 Fleer Ultra Gold Medallion. And again, we're talking about some gold foil. This card is just about 100% gold foil. And that's why it gets the highest mark on the list. The Jordan is one, you know, that I've seen people hoard, you know, dozens of copies of them. You know, it just looks like a gold bar. Almost, you know, it almost makes me think of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and getting a golden ticket. When you pull these out of a pack, they really stand out. There is no denying it. When you see a corner that shows gold in the pack, you know, immediately your mind's gonna jump to who is that of. No rookies. These are just for Series 1, so you're not gonna see the Kevin Garnett rookie in a gold medallion, which is unfortunate. But the Jordan is the highlight here. Jordan also, interestingly, wearing the playoff version of his iconic Air Jordan 11 in that all-black colorway. Also gets, you know, some of the sneakerheads a little bit excited. Condition is always going to be an issue because these are so covered in foil. They show condition issues, especially on the corners. They jump out. They're glaring. So, if you're looking for a Jordan that's well below $100, you can find it here. They're typically going to hover right around $100 for Jordan. You know, depending on the condition, really the broad range is anywhere from $70 to $150.
So, you know, obviously, if you find one that looks like it is in pristine condition, you're going to be closer to $150. But if you find one that has a few, you know, dings or stuff that is going to, you know, take away from the eye appeal, you could be closer to the $70 price point. You know, sometimes even lower than that, if if you really don't mind something that's glaring. But right around $100 is going to be your average on these. You know, Penny, you're looking at 5 to 10. Shaq is in the set, 5 to 10. Dennis Rodman, 5 to 10. You know, looking at a guy like David Robinson or Charles Barkley, you're probably going to be closer to the $5 price point. You know, so just about any star you can get under $10 with the exception of Jordan. And then obviously you're going to have plenty of commons that are going to be $1 or less in some cases. You know, this is Flair Ultra was a large checklist set, so gorgeous. You know, if you have a player that's a common, this is a card I would rush out and get in the best condition, because they just they never get old. As simple as you would think it is to have just gold foil, they're gorgeous, and I always come back to this penny. It's one of my favorites, and that's why it's number one on the list. It is just an absolutely iconic and gorgeous, but a simplicity to the beauty of these cards from 1995.
All right, that's the list that we've got today. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything that you would rate differently on this list, or if there's anything that you think I forgot. For example, maybe the honorable mention you think should have been in the top 10 over something that was. So let me know those down in the comments. These are my opinions based on the aesthetics, but I'm always interested in hearing your thoughts and feedback, stuff that you think might have better aesthetics than some of this stuff. I'm totally open to that conversation. So let me know down in the comments your thoughts on the list. If there's any additions, subtractions, all that kind of great stuff. And you know, there's going to be more of these types of lists. If you like them, let me know what you'd like me to go over. It doesn't have to just be under $100, but I know that's one of the things a lot of people, especially with the way that the world is right now, people are looking to save some money, but collecting inside of that budget. So let me know thoughts on different types of top 10s like this, lists of cards that you'd be interested in. I'll be happy to do more videos like this if it's something of interest. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any videos in the future. New videos dropping once, sometimes twice a week, that looks into my PC, occasional collector interviews, grading reveals, 90s pack openings, occasional show reviews, and so much more. Thanks. We'll talk later.